The race for MVP is on, and the ladder continues to be broken down by, of course, our own Sekou Smith. You can get that at NBA.com. We've had it all season, and here are his rankings: Westbrook, Harden, Kawhi, LeBron, and IT, which are probably everybody's top five in some order. And I want to start with this. Westbrook now is going to average a triple-double, which is pretty crazy. He's going to get 42, which is pretty crazy. Does that, in your mind, lock down MVP for him?
I don't have an Oklahoma license plate on my car.
I've noticed. That's why I went to you first.
Listen, you've got four guys there, and you could even make a case for Isaiah Thomas that are incredible seasons, and I love it. It just shows how spectacular this league has become. It's hard to argue that, but I watch LeBron James on a nightly basis, and I'm not his campaign manager. He doesn't need one, but I would throw this at you. If you combine the numbers of his 4 MVP seasons, basically 28, 7, and 6 in his shooting, his numbers this year are better than those 4 years combined, other than scoring because he's taking fewer shots. But everything, he's averaging 8+ rebounds, 8+ assists, basically 8 assists, career best. Shooting is better, three-point shooting is better. So all those categories are better this year, and of course they're 0-6 without him. That's the case for LeBron James, and he's still considered by everybody who covers the league and in the league the best player on the planet. So I don't think he should be penalized for consistent greatness. That being said, look what James Harden has done. In Houston, you can make a heck of a case. Russell with obviously the triple-double machine he's become, and Kawhi Leonard, a phenomenal talent. So I almost wish you could split it up in 4 pieces and hand it off to each, but that's not going to happen.
Is it officially? I know you have them in the one spot in the ladder.
Right.
Is there anything that can happen in the last couple of days that changes that, or for you, has Westbrook locked up the MVP?
I don't know if he's locked it up, and I think he could have already lost the MVP to James Harden, who might have locked it up earlier, maybe a month ago, with his string of just outlandish performances. It's up to the voters, and this year the voting block is a little bit different. It's not the same makeup of voters we've had in the past, which will change that dynamic a little bit. I think the tough thing for a guy like LeBron James, as Fred mentioned, is he's being held to a standard he created himself that really nobody, and not even himself, not even LeBron James, can go out and reach the limits that he has in previous seasons. He's got 4 of these trophies already. So he's fighting against the ghost of his own performance in seasons past. The guy who, to me, really gets penalized in this situation is Kawhi Leonard, because we all value offense differently than we do defense. If we were giving a guy credit for being as good defensively as we are Russ and James Harden offensively, I think a lot of people take Kawhi Leonard should be your MVP.
Well, the other thing I would add about Kawhi, he's the only guy I think that this year has been a closer on both sides of the ball.
Right.
A lot of these guys have made big shots. He'll make a block, go down the other way, then make the shot. And, I mean, in covering the game over the number of years you have, you watch guys improve. Have you ever seen a player who's supposed to come in as a defensive guy improve the way he has, Fred, offensively?
No, he and Jimmy Butler first come to mind, and Bruce Bowen too over time. But what Chip Engelland has done with him as a shooting coach, Kawhi, I mean, Chip showed him a picture, as a matter of fact, of Richard Jefferson, of how RJ had brought the ball too far back, and he showed him a picture of how, don't cock your wrist so far, bring it more in front of your face. And Kawhi worked on it, and has become a very good shooter. Forget the size of his hands and how great he is as a defender, but this guy worked at it. Look at Jimmy Butler, too. Those guys, I love those stories when guys come in the league with a label. It's only play one side of the ball, and there are a myriad of other guys we're probably not even thinking of that have done that. It's cool because it shows when you seek greatness, there is no limitation.
I think in sports we always which is why talk radio folks like me have jobs, but we always look at we always look at the negativity instead of the positive. This is a great time for the NBA.
Yeah.
Because to have Isaiah Thomas where he is,
question.
you think of the young side of it, Devin Booker scoring 70 points, Karl Anthony Towns. We are in a better spot than we've been in years right now in this league.
Yeah, and let me make an even stronger MVP argument for whoever wins it and the field. If Steph Curry doesn't see Kevin Durant choose to come to Golden State in the offseason, and we see the Steph we've seen recently all year, who says Steph is not sitting atop this list chasing a 3rd straight MVP? And if Kevin Durant doesn't get hurt 59 games into this season and continues to be the best player on the best team in the league, why wouldn't he be in your top 3, top 5? I just think we've hit a point in this season in particular with the triple-doubles and the narrative really that Russ has carried from the time Kevin Durant said, I'm going to Golden State, has really been on Russ's side. If he had a great season this year, he was going to press further and further up that MVP list this year, no matter what anyone else did, because of the circumstance. The guy to me who really has been a surprise, and that's why I think he still has a chance to win this thing, is James Harden, because nobody saw this season coming from that Rockets team.
Yeah, well, Mike D'Antoni putting the ball in his hands was a stroke of genius. And, but talking about future MVP guys, how about Karl Anthony Towns? He's going to win some.
What doesn't he do?
Oh, he's unbelievable. And so, like you say, this league is just stocked with so much depth of talent that it's, for me, being an NBA junkie, it's just I can't get enough of it, because it doesn't matter what game you tune in on League Pass, you're gonna get the wow factor. It's just awesome.